So you probably hold like a $1,000 supercomputer in your hand right now.
Oh, at least 1,000, yeah.
Right. Yet every time you send a standard text message, you are basically relying on this invisible infrastructure that was built decades ago.
It is kind of wild when you think about it.
It really is. But then, seemingly overnight, the basic interface you use to text your friends or your coworkers just quietly shifted. Instead of the usual blank box or that familiar text message prompt, your screen suddenly just says RCS message.
Right, and no one really tells you why.
Exactly. You didn't download an update, you didn't agree to some new terms of service, but this entirely new acronym is suddenly governing your conversations.
Yeah, it's an incredibly silent, almost invisible upgrade.
It is. So today's deep dive is dedicated to figuring out exactly what changed on your device while you were sleeping and, why that tiny text box represents a massive, long overdue shift in global communication.
I love this topic because we spend hours staring at these messaging interfaces every single day.
Oh, totally.
Yet very few people actually know what's happening beneath the glass of their screens when those letters actually change.
Well, to understand what is going on behind the glass, we are drawing from this highly informative June 2026 blog post.
Yeah, a really great piece.
It's by a software engineer and tech writer named Aaron Rose. The piece is up on tech-reader.blog, and it's simply titled RCS in 3 minutes.
Aaron's blog is generally a fantastic resource for, diving into those complex technical weeds.
Yeah, he writes these comprehensive guides on things like comparing Diet Pi versus Raspberry Pi OS Lite for minimal server builds.
Right, or the harsh realities of trying to run AI models locally on a Raspberry Pi 5 with 8 gigs of RAM.
Which sounds incredibly frustrating, honestly.
Oh, it's a nightmare.
But today, we are steering clear of headless servers. We are focusing entirely on his breakdown of this everyday technology we all use constantly.
And honestly, those are often the most fascinating systems to analyze.
I think so too.
The technologies that are so ubiquitous, so deeply baked into our daily routines, that we completely stop thinking about how they actually function.
Right, until the moment they break.
Exactly. Or in this case, the moment they finally evolve.
Okay, let's unpack this. If RCS is rolling out universally right now, it begs the question of what exactly broke in our current system to force this change, right?
Right, something had to give.
Aaron points out in his piece that SMS, the short message service we've used for decades, was, well, it was revolutionary for its time.
Well, absolutely groundbreaking.
It completely altered human interaction by allowing us to instantly transmit text across the globe. But his core argument is that it was built for a completely different era of mobile technology.
Yeah, if we connect this to the bigger picture, we are basically looking at a classic infrastructure crisis.
How so?
Well, when we talk about SMS, we are talking about a protocol designed in the 1980s and widely deployed in the 1990s.
Wow, the 80s.
Right. And meanwhile, the hardware in our hands, the high refresh rate screens, the multi-lens cameras, the incredibly fast processors, all of that evolved exponentially.
Yeah, our smartphones became pocket supercomputers.
Exactly. But the invisible infrastructure carrying our conversations did not evolve alongside them. It stayed stagnant.
It just couldn't keep up.
Right. The underlying communication standard fundamentally failed to match the hardware, creating this massive capability gap.
I was thinking about how to visualize that constraint. And honestly, traditional SMS operates very much like sending a physical postcard through the mail.
Oh, that's a really good way to look at it.
Right, because a postcard is universally reliable. You drop it in any mailbox in any country, and the postal service will get it to the destination.
It's a standard everyone understands.
Exactly. But you are burdened by a severe physical constraint. You only have a tiny square of cardboard.
Yeah.
If you want to include a massive, beautiful portrait, you have to shrink that photo down until it's a blurry little stamp just to make it fit.
And taking that analogy into the technical realm, the tiny square of cardboard is the legacy cellular radio control channel.
Okay. The what now?
The radio control channel. So SMS was originally designed to piggyback on the control channels that cellular towers use to ping phones.
Oh, I see.
And that is a highly restricted pathway. It was never meant for dense data transfer.
So it's literally a tiny pipe.
Exactly. Your device wants to send rich, complex data, but it's being forced to push it through that tiny, decades-old pipe.
And we feel that constraint constantly,
Oh, every day.
You take a stunning high-resolution photo of your dog on a modern smartphone, hit send via standard SMS, And the recipient just gets a compressed, pixelated mess.
Right, because the phone is desperately crushing the file size down to shove it through that legacy control channel.
It creates such a jarring user experience.
It really does. It's the friction of modern expectations colliding with legacy infrastructure. And that friction goes well beyond media compression.
Oh.
I mean, think about the mechanical failures of group conversations over traditional SMS.
Group texts over SMS are genuinely chaotic.
A total mess.
Half the time, messages arrive completely out of order, making the conversation impossible to follow.
Yeah.
Or you find yourself stuck in a massive thread with 20 people, your phone is buzzing every 3 seconds, and you realize you can't leave.
You're just held hostage by the group text.
Literally. The protocol literally doesn't have a mechanism for you to bow out of the room. You're trapped.
And then someone decides to like a message.
Oh no, don't even get me started.
Right. Instead of a subtle visual icon updating on the screen, you receive a completely new, separate text message announcing person X liked your message.
It's maddening.
Well, all of those frustrations stem from the same root cause. SMS doesn't understand the concept of a synchronized, real-time virtual room.
It's just too basic.
Right. It just sees discrete, isolated pings of text bouncing back and forth, which brings us to the solution Aaron outlines in his post, RCS.
Which stands for Rich Communication Services.
Exactly. This is the necessary upgrade to the foundational plumbing.
Aaron lists out the specific features that RCS brings to your default texting experience. And, I mean, it reads like a checklist of modern communication standards.
It really covers all the bases.
It introduces read receipts, so you actually know if the other person saw your message.
Huge upgrade.
It adds typing indicators, those floating bubbles that show someone is actively replying, which honestly completely changes the pacing of a conversation.
Oh, it adds so much context.
It enables high-resolution photo sharing. It finally creates organized group chats that you can actually manage and, more importantly, leave.
Freedom at last.
Right. And it offers much better support for large videos and file attachments.
And perhaps most crucially, Aaron notes that RCS allows for messaging over Wi-Fi and mobile data networks.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it moves the entire process off those restricted legacy cellular radio channels and onto internet-based data packets.
Okay, wait. Let me pause the feature list right there. Because when you read through all these capabilities, high-res photos, typing bubbles, Wi-Fi routing, the immediate reaction for most people is going to be skepticism.
How do you mean?
Well, it sounds like Aaron is just describing an application. I feel like a lot of listeners are going to hear that list and think, wait, so is this just another app I have to download?
Right, the app fatigue is real.
Exactly. Like, do I have to go to the App Store, find RCS Messenger, create a new login, and then convince my entire contact list to download the same app just so we can send a clear video?
That is such a common reaction, and Aaron specifically takes the time to debunk that misconception in his breakdown.
Thank goodness.
Because it is the single biggest point of confusion surrounding this transition. RCS is emphatically not a messaging app.
Okay.
It is a messaging standard. It is the underlying protocol used by your existing mobile devices and the texting applications that are already pre-installed on your phone.
Ah, I see. So it's the difference between replacing a fixture and replacing the underlying pipe.
Yes, that's exactly it.
It's like the city coming into your neighborhood and quietly upgrading the underground plumbing connected to your house. You aren't going out and buying a new sink.
You don't have to hire a plumber or learn a new system.
Right. You are turning on the exact same faucet you've always used, which is the default text app on your phone. Your behavior doesn't change at all.
Not one bit.
But suddenly, because the city swapped out the ancient pipes for high-capacity mains underground, the water pressure is incredible. The water is crystal clear, the flow is faster, and you can just do much more with it.
That captures the mechanics perfectly. Your phone number remains your identifier.
Right.
Your default messaging app remains your interface. But the language those apps use to speak to the network and to other phones is fundamentally upgraded.
From the old SMS language to the new RCS language.
Exactly. The heavy lifting is entirely invisible to the user. You don't configure anything.
That invisible nature leads to a really logical follow-up question, though.
Let's hear it.
If RCS is just this vastly superior invisible standard with features we obviously want, and it operates entirely in the background without requiring us to download anything new, why are we only just now noticing RCS message popping up on our screens in the summer of 2026?
It's a fair question.
I mean, if the SMS postcard has been inadequate for over a decade, why didn't the industry fix the plumbing 10 years ago?
Well, that delay exposes the notoriously difficult politics of technology standards.
Politics, of course.
Aaron addresses this historical context in the text by pointing out that for years, RCS adoption was highly uneven.
Really?
Yeah, the delay wasn't due to some insurmountable technical limitation. It was a massive coordination problem. We live through an era of intense fragmentation.
I mean, getting massive technology companies and global telecom networks to agree on anything seems nearly impossible.
It is incredibly difficult. You had hardware manufacturers who supported the new standard and others who explicitly did not. You had some cellular carriers who were eager to implement it, while others dragged their feet because it required overhauling their network architecture.
And obviously, the user pays the price for that corporate friction.
Always.
If half your friends have the new high-capacity plumbing and the other half are still on the old restricted pipes, the system can't magically push a high-res video through the old pipe.
Exactly.
It just defaults back to the old plumbing for everyone so the water keeps flowing.
And that fallback mechanism is what made the fragmentation era so frustrating. You end up with a highly inconsistent environment.
Oh, I hate that.
Right. You might have a rich, fluid conversation with read receipts and typing indicators with one contact.
Yeah.
But the moment you add a third person to that conversation, someone whose device or carrier doesn't support the standard, the entire group chat breaks and downgrades back to basic SMS.
The typing bubbles vanish, the photos compress, and the group management tools just disappear. It creates a scenario where the user never knows what kind of experience they are going to get until they actually hit send.
Which is terrible UX.
Yeah, it completely destroys the reliability that made SMS so popular in the first place.
And what's fascinating here is that communication standards only function when everyone agrees to use them.
Right.
A protocol is useless in a vacuum. You can invent the most efficient language in the world, but if you are the only person who speaks it, you still can't communicate.
That makes total sense.
So the major shift, the reason your screen suddenly says RCS message today, is highlighted in Aaron's blog. Support has finally expanded across the major mobile platforms.
Oh, so the major players finally sat down at the table and agreed to use the same set of pipes.
Exactly. We hit a tipping point of universal buy-in.
Wow.
And because of that universal buy-in, the network effect takes over. RCS is becoming visible to everyday users all at once.
Just a domino effect.
Basically. Because more and more devices universally adopt and recognize the standard, more of your daily conversations are automatically upgrading behind the scenes.
I see.
Your phone recognizes that the device you are texting now speaks this new language, and it seamlessly switches over. The barrier of fragmentation has fallen, which is why millions of people are encountering it for the very first time right now.
Understanding the politics of why it took so long and how it finally reached this tipping point makes total sense.
It's been a long road.
It clearly has. But looking at our actual daily habits, I do want to push back on the utility of RCS for a second.
Okay, lay it on me.
If I want to send a pristine, uncompressed video of my kids to my family overseas, or if I want end-to-end encryption, or if I rely on seeing typing indicators, I'm kind of already doing that.
Sure.
Millions of people already found workarounds for the terrible SMS pipes years ago by moving to third-party platforms.
That's true. We do.
We use WhatsApp, Signal, Telegram, Discord.
Yeah.
We built massive social ecosystems outside of default texting. So if we already have all those apps installed, why should we care about RCS? Does Aaron suggest that these dedicated messaging apps are going to die out?
That is an astute challenge, and Aaron actually anticipates that exact counterargument in his piece.
Oh, he does.
Yeah. And the short answer is no. Dedicated messaging apps are absolutely not dead, and RCS is not necessarily meant to replace them.
Okay, good.
Aaron points out that applications like WhatsApp, Signal, and Telegram offer their own very distinct features, communities, and ecosystems that a foundational standard isn't trying to replicate.
Yeah, those apps have entrenched cultures. Like Signal is hyper-focused on privacy and security.
Exactly.
And WhatsApp has deep international footholds. If you have a family group chat on WhatsApp that's been running for 5 years, you aren't going to delete the app tomorrow just because your phone's default text app got a plumbing upgrade.
You certainly won't. The true value of RCS, the real so what for you as the listener, isn't about waging war on WhatsApp or Signal.
What is it about then?
It's about elevating the default baseline of mobile communication. It brings modern features into the interface you are already forced to use for basic, everyday, universal texting.
Oh, I love that. Elevating the default baseline. That concept completely reframes the issue.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, because no matter how heavily you rely on specialized apps, there is always a baseline need to communicate with the outside world.
Always.
Let's say you're buying a used bicycle off a local community board,
Right.
or you need to quickly text a plumber who is on their way to fix your sink.
Right.
You aren't going to initiate a conversation by asking, hey, do you have Signal? No. Are you on Telegram? What about WhatsApp?
Exactly. You don't want to negotiate platform compatibility with a stranger. It introduces unnecessary friction into a simple transaction.
You just want to use their phone number.
Keep it simple.
The phone number remains the ultimate, universal, frictionless identifier. You just type in 10 digits and hit send,
And you know it will reach them.
regardless of what software they prefer. And RCS preserves that ultimate simplicity. You still just send a text to a number without needing to convince the recipient to download anything.
Right.
But it ensures that when you do send that text, it doesn't feel like you've time-traveled back to the year 2005. It elevates that universal interaction to a modern standard.
That's spot on. It establishes a safety net of modernity.
A safety net of modernity. I like that.
Aaron sums this up beautifully. SMS helped define mobile communication for decades. It is a legendary foundational piece of technology that shaped how an entire generation interacted.
It really is.
But technology inevitably moves forward. RCS brings our most basic, ingrained texting habit in line with modern smartphone expectations.
Finally.
Right. It adds the rich, data-heavy features we demand, like high-resolution media and dynamic chat tools, without sacrificing the universal, frictionless reach of the traditional phone number.
So, to synthesize all of this for you listening, SMS was the tiny cardboard postcard we relied on because it was guaranteed to arrive in any mailbox, anywhere. But our multi-lens cameras, our high-definition screens, and, frankly, our expectations outgrew that tiny piece of cardboard.
We needed bigger pipes.
We did. And after a brutal era of fragmentation where the tech industry basically argued over who was going to pay for and implement the new plumbing, the major players finally reached a consensus.
Thank goodness.
The legacy cellular control channels are being bypassed. The pipes have been upgraded to handle data packets. The standard has officially shifted.
It's a new era.
So the next time you pull your phone out of your pocket, open up a new message and see RCS message quietly sitting there in the text box, you'll know exactly the massive, invisible infrastructure upgrade that is happening right behind the glass.
And, it leaves you with a fascinating question to ponder.
What's that?
Well, if a standard as foundational, deeply ingrained, and universally ubiquitous as the SMS text message, something billions of people rely on without a second thought, can finally reach its breaking point and be pushed aside for a richer, more complex protocol, what other invisible legacy technologies quietly running our daily lives are currently showing their age, just waiting for a silent, mandatory upgrade?
Oh, wow. That makes you look at your supercomputer a little differently,
Yeah.
wondering what else is about to change overnight.